Good morning, everybody. It's your very old guy, Shmuel. Hey, I've got a quick 30 minutes that I want to get this out. And what I'd like to do today is to quickly review, not even review, fact check. I want to fact check the statements by what appear to be election denying John and just misinformation by Brian Karem. So I'm just going to start this thread. I'll interrupt it when I can uh, with proof or comments, but don't plan on a lot of opinion. And I'd like to see what you all think. So here we go.
Oh, okay. So I know you all like to think that I am a big loser today. And, you're entitled to that opinion. And I understand why, because I'm a big Democrat. I'm a liberal. And I was hoping that sanity would prevail and educated people will show up at the polls. But apparently, I was wrong. I make mistakes. We all make mistakes. That's why pencils have erasers. I will tell you this, though. While you're busy celebrating my loss and so happy about it, just know that I doubled my crypto money today and my stocks are going through the roof. And I don't attribute that to Donald Trump. I attribute that to the fact that there's no more uncertainty. But
We're going to hold that as our first mark. John's comment right there, but I don't want to jump on it.
I'll get an expert opinion. Why should I have my own? I was hoping that the Army Major would have a change of heart and come on. He's just too pissed, I think. He doesn't want to deal with you assholes, which I understand. I found out that Carl's Frosted Tips idiot was Vince, the lawyer, who was doxing the Army Major. Vince, I'm going to tell you right now, don't ever do it again. Ever. Or we're done. We're Dunsky. Don't fuck with my guests. And now, without anything left to say, let me bring on the man of the hour who told me on the phone when I called him last night that we were going to win, and I'll love to get his opinion on it now. Please welcome Brian Karem. Hey, Brian.
I'm incognito as I escape the United States for Byron's colder incline.
Last night I called you, said, "Oh no, but we're going to win. Don't worry."
Well, what can I tell you? I was reading the tea leaves. I thought she would have 276 electoral votes. If you look at the numbers, the Democrats didn't show up in numbers. Donald Trump ended up with about 71 million votes, 2.5. And this is, mind you guys, before you jump in and comment, this is based on the tallies so far. They could go up. In 2020, he had 74 million votes, give or take. He's got about 2.5 million less. But the Democrats only churned out, instead of 81, 66 million. So 14.5 million less votes, fewer votes. And a lot of those were in the swing states. So the Democrats didn't turn out in the numbers that they were supposed to. And proportionally, look, they may not, they're not done counting the votes, but you're not going to find, and you can scream voter suppression all you want. Democrats, you just didn't show up. And a lot of that boils down.
Brian's numbers are off, but we're going to cut him slack on that because they were still counting at the time. But he's essentially correct. Dems on their side, who are known for their get out the vote operation, just didn't get it out.
Down to the fact that a lot of people at the end of the day just aren't comfortable with a black female as as president. And that's I knew there were a lot of men who hated women. I didn't know there were that many women who also despised of women.
I know,
So,
which is amazing. And let me issue a retraction. Vince, the lawyer, just texted me, said he's not Carl's Frosted Tips. So I guess maybe I was fed wrong information. So I apologize. But anyway, Brian, now, do you know Pam Keith on Twitter, Esquire? She says there's like 20 million votes uncounted for. Now, I don't want to sound like an election denier. We've been through that before. But have you been hearing that?
look, voter suppression was a thing. If you really want to talk about anything, let's talk about the act of war that was propagated by Russia. You know, you want to scream voter suppression from Republicans, fine. But we have documented act of war, Russian interference in our election, documented. And Republicans and Democrats both should be upset with that because it affects both of them. And that is an interference in our election is an act of war. Now, what we do about it, I doubt there will be much done. I don't know about 20 million odd votes. I don't think that would be an accurate reflection of what went on. I think that Democrats better learn they lost, and it's their fault they lost. How poor are you that the Republicans keep finding a lower level and you can't crawl over the lower bar?
I know. It is.
You know, I don't know what to tell you. You Democrats, you got a lot to account. Now, the press, we have a lot to account for too. We were criticized by both Republicans and Democrats for favoring either candidate. There are those who said that we favored Donald Trump. There's those who said that we favored Kamala Harris. The fact of the matter is we were just incompetent in reporting. And that's, you know, that is a fact. We did not do our job well, but the Democrats didn't do a very good job either. And the Republicans turned out their base. The Donald Trump base stayed. The Donald Trump base didn't grow. The Donald Trump base won because the Democrats didn't turn out the vote.
What I found.
Congratulations, everyone. Your next president is.
All right, let's quickly run through that. The 20 million vote thing is literally just made up. And for that, I'm going to give you a little. I'm going to give you a little screen share here, kids. This, I hate when they do that. This is from the AP. The claim: Joe Biden won approximately 20 million more votes in 2020 than in 2020, or in 2020, than VP Harris earned in the 2024 race, proving that Trump has cheated on his way to a second term. There was widespread fraud 4 years ago. The facts these claims are unfounded. Votes from Tuesday's presidential election are still being counted, so any comparison with previous races would not be accurate. In addition, election officials and agencies monitoring the vote reported no significant issues with Tuesday's election. So this is just more John Cope, and although Brian wouldn't shove it aside too much, you can talk about voter suppression. He really did actually hit the nail on the head with what appeared to be the problem for the Democrats. So let's get back here and we'll back to our stream.
All right, I'll give it up for Godfather 2.
Brian, what I found.
I'm your father.
Yes, come on. That was the
So
biggest bombshell ever.
I am your father.
Yeah,
You guys
and
ought to
I'm a
take this
kid,
act
and I'm
on
like,
the road.
now I got to wait 3 years to find out if he really is. I mean, it isn't like the kids have it now. They just start at episode 1 and keep going. And so they already know that Anakin is that Darth Vader is Anakin Skywalker. Brian, the thing that I found really odd, and I see all these haters in the room,
I
and
don't care.
yeah, the Army Major didn't want
Look,
to.
I just want to say off the top, I'm going to take my George Carlin line here. I disengage. I'll give you what I think. I'll give you what I care about. But at the end of the day, I don't give a shit. 20 or 30 years ago, I checked out because I know this country is a freak show, and I'm just happy to be having a front row seat watching it. And so I have, other than my family, I don't really much give a shit. So go ahead, go for it.
If we head back to 2020 after Biden was elected, this guy was screaming how intelligent and smart and aware the American people are.
Right.
Well, I mean, now I just got done saying, Brian, that I did make more money in crypto and in Bitcoin and in stocks, but give it 2 years, watch what happens.
A one-day gain does not mean making more money unless you sell that shit. I think pretty much everybody on the planet knows that, except SJ.
Goes to the economy. I don't anticipate it's going to be much.
No. What's going to happen is that they'll blame the Democrats. You want me to wait till you're done eating and drinking? Is it?
That was the pills. Sorry, I take my medication.
I knew you were on medication. It's a tough room. Hey.
Yes, I'm on OCD medication.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you didn't know that?
No, I didn't know. Squirrel. I'm sorry. What?
What? Yes. Yes, I do have to take my OCD pills because I missed them yesterday.
Well, it was. I haven't slept much the last day or two. So, welcome to my world.
Well, I will say this to you, Brian. I was very surprised that my Hispanic community did not show up for Kamala, and the African American community didn't show up for Kamala. Trump made headways.
Didn't show up. Women, nobody. The Democrats preached. I have a friend who probably was correct in this, and he said, it was all that happy, joy shit. People didn't want to hear it. They want to hear about the economy and immigration, and but they listened to Donald Trump griping and moaning and screaming and retching, and kvetching. So They thought that their best bet was to preach, happy, joy. The fact of the matter is, once you're in for a penny, you're in for a pound. They tried to appeal to Republicans who weren't Democrats, they tried to appeal to Republicans who had left the Republican Party and the far left progressives. But there's something that Joe Walsh said, not the guitar player, but
I got it.
Former. I always.
Joe Walsh, the guitar player, is kind of cool. This other Joe Walsh is an idiot.
Preface that because somebody goes, the guitar player never said that. Anyway, so Joe Walsh said something that he said, Donald Trump is a demagogue who appeals to the populists and are taking advantage of them while appealing to them. The Democrats have never recognized that we're in a populist moment. And that's true. The Democrats have thought that they could, that their ideas, some of them are elitist, believe that they could carry the day with Kamala. And but what this vote showed you is that America is not as progressive as the Democrats would like to think.
It's not a fact, right? In a fact check situation here, but I just got to say, I think what Brian is describing in other words, in plainer words, would be the Democrats are just out of touch. They're out of touch with the people, even their own loyal people.
America is. And perhaps they needed an old white guy to be on the ticket with progressive ideas.
Well, but the
amount of cope about Harris, maybe the same thing, right? About Harris being a woman and people not voting for her because she's a woman. Look, there are probably some, but certainly not enough to affect the election, and this guy, this is cope going on, and what's happening in the Democratic Party right now is they're having an autopsy of the election, and they're trying to figure out why they lost. And this thing keeps popping up about it being a woman, and I don't think it's about being a woman. I think America would love to vote for a woman. I think that that's what happened when Obama ran, right? Like, people loved the idea of, having a black president for the first time. I think we would have loved it here. But this was just the wrong candidate. So I would say the wrong woman, but really just the wrong candidate.
Thing now, Brian, is now. Now, I'm not saying, look, Trump is not a healthy man, and he's fat.
Never been a healthy man. Remember, he had bone spurs. He couldn't go into the military. He's never been healthy, damn it.
Yeah, but
he's a healthy man, but at the same time, he's the healthiest man ever. He's going to live to be 200. So,
Did President Joe, who was also subject to the draft, serve in the military? Look it up.
Whatever. Yeah, but he's fat. He doesn't eat vegetables. He doesn't work out because he fears that if you use too many heartbeats, you'll be dead. So if, in fact, let's say, God forbid,
the fact in that is it sounds like John's describing himself.
He has a heart attack. We are one heartbeat away from J.D. Vance as our president. Yeah. There's one heartbeat away to have Speaker Mike Johnson as your president. This is scary, Brian.
Well, he's not going to be Speaker. Hakeem Jeffries will be Speaker.
Oh, you think that? Why? You think?
Yeah, I think that. Yeah, I think then that
Okay, so that's a correct and incorrect statement all at the same time. If the Democrats take the House, they have agreed that Hakeem will be the Speaker. I don't think, as of this moment, that it. I think it's split. I think you need 216 to actually fully control the House. But I think the Republicans have about 210, 211 now. So if the Democrats had won, yes, they would have installed Hakeem Jeffries as the Speaker. I don't know whether this is Brian hoping against hope that the Dems win Congress, or if it's, which it sounds like he thinks that this is a deal made by this Congress to go into the next. And the reality is that every Congress is brand new and does whatever the hell it wants. So any promises made the year before outside of their party are not going to be held to. The other thing he also may be saying is the deal was struck, and since you always have these rebellious Republicans, a guy like Gates in Florida, who's more interested in himself than he is in the country, would vote for a guy like Hakeem just to fuck with the Republican establishment. I don't know that that's going to happen here, because I have a feeling that Trump is going to put put Gates on a bit of a leash.
I think that's already been decided.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, the Democrats have defied logic there. And see, that's another indication that, here's my question for dear Donnie. You were screaming that the election was rigged 2 weeks ago. So if it's rigged, are you president? And if it's rigged, how did they elect, down ballot Democrats to take over the House? As usual, that's just blowing smoke out of your ass. But, that's it, as he did in 2020. There's no indication that the election was rigged. There is some indication of voter suppression, but not 15 to 20 million votes worth. That would be a shitload of. And if you look at the numbers via precinct, but I doubt they'll be armed and try and storm the Bastille as the far right did. But I could be wrong.
And then Dustin's real question was it a mistake to not have Joe Biden run? Should Joe Biden just have stayed in the race?
Well, that's a good question, and we don't know the answer to that. And there is a lot of
no evidence that anyone entering the Capitol in the January 6th riot was armed, except the police. So sounds good, though.
So, there are a lot of finger pointing going on today, but I would just tell the Democrats this: you didn't turn out the numbers, dumbass. You just didn't. You had that wonderful moment. And I was impressed. And what sold me on the Democrats this year was the DNC versus the RNC. But here's the thing. The Republicans, you knew, were going to turn out the base. That's what they did. There was no increase. In fact, there are 2.5 million fewer voters for the Republicans this time than 4 years ago so far. It may end up being closer to, or even eclipse it. But
It's actually an inaccurate statement. Trump's largest base is with white, non-college educated men, and he increased his percentage of voters in that category this time around. So he did increase his base.
the problem is in that you turned out fewer voters. So you're going to scream now voter suppression. And I get it. There was some voter suppression. They expelled people off the rolls in Virginia. She still won in Virginia. But if you look at the swing states, she angered people in those swing states. I don't like the fact that the Rust Belt is where we're going to.
As I've read, and I could be inaccurate, somebody can check me, but the voter rolls in Virginia that were purged, none of those people had voted in a long time. So I don't know how you suppress the vote of people that don't vote.
Go to elect a president. But Democrats, you lost the popular vote too. So do not sit there and scream about the media or voter suppression or the Republicans, because this is on you. You needed to turn out your base and you didn't do it. And the reason why, at the end of the day, men were afraid of a woman.
Yep.
There's no evidence that this is true. I've read through everything I could possibly read. The Times, the Wall Street Journal, the Washington Post. And it only seems to be among a certain subset of Democrats that this is their, this is their take. So we'll go on.
Yeah, and isn't that
And I apologize for doing it double speed. I got to catch a plane, and these two morons, I've listened to this like 10 times trying to separate fact from fiction and fact from opinion. And it's a lot. I realize now that our Clippers, when they have their awards on Sunday, the prize should be a weekend away of meditation and massage and general relaxing, because this shit's got to make you nuts.
story of life?
I love women. And I would have accepted her as a president because I thought she was smart.
Come on, Brian, who wins the clicker war? You or Pam?
The what?
The clicker war. If you're on the couch watching TV, who wins that battle?
Well, that's a good question, but actually it's kind of half and half. We decide, we had 41 years of marriage. There's some give and take there. Yeah, and if we don't agree with it,
You have a little connection problem today, Brian. There's 5 thanks to the Bus Yankees. Call me a K-Tape selections. You're a winner. I am a winner because you're paying me to insult me. Brian Johnson Manning, thanks for the $2. America wins when Stuttering John loses. Trump, baby. Go ahead. Field director. Let me see if we can see if Brian can get it. Thanks to us. Great results. Merry 4 years on the beautiful DJT.
who, what?
Oh, no. Okay, no.
Who, what?
Oh, no. Okay, no. The one that was locked up. It just went away. Dumbass Adam, straight up annihilation. 3 Sims, eat that crow. No, only 2 Sims here. What not? Chaser gives me the L. Thank you. Wendy's cat, thanks for the $2. Thank God there is more of us than you. MAGA.
Well, there isn't, but more of you voted.
Mike Larson, thanks for $3 in your face. Poopy pants. Ha ha ha. But you know what's so funny, Brian, is that I
I'm sorry.
He just said that the GOP side won more of the popular vote. So isn't that by definition there are more of them than there are of you?
What is that, a 10-year-old? No, 7-year-old? I mean, God damn. Hey, son, somebody better let me, before you spend all your mom's money. They're going to have to jettison you out of the basement.
But you know what's I know it is hysterical. People are all gloating like somehow I lost.
Look, folks, the country lost. Wait till you see what happens. Now, I hope I'm wrong. Honestly, I hope I'm wrong. And Donald Trump is our president going forward, and we're going to have to accept that.
Based upon the first 3 years of the Trump administration, the losers were really the elite class that had started overruling every sensible part of our culture. And until the thing from China, which I believe was released from a lab, but I'm not crazy about it, which kind of destroyed everything and stuff that he had built. We have seen it before, and it was pretty good.
Fact. If you can't, well, then maybe a different country is where you should be. But nonetheless, I'll be there to give him shit every chance I get because I think he's an asshole and he doesn't give a shit about democracy. So, that's just me. But folks, we're all in this. What was the James Baldwin said? We all came over here on different boats, but we're in the same boat.
It's very hard to call someone anti-democratic when all they've done for the last 3 years is run for president. Trump's spoken in more places. Trump's got out more voters. Uh, he's done everything a totally democratic candidate or a candidate who believes in democracy would do. He personally went out there and he got out the vote. So this Trump being anti-democratic is a bit of bullshit.
Vote now.
Yep. Feel the right thing for the $2 Army Major is a baby and Grammy about him. Hey, listen, Army Major, you know, I mean, he doesn't want to deal with you idiots. You're a big loser every day. Thank you. Thank you. Trump rose and goes in stocks. Army Major, and he's not out. He claims it wasn't him. Loser every day. I'm sorry?
What did he do?
I don't know. This 5 things plus, ha ha ha, Trump 2024, open seat, House and Senate. That's why people saying that they took the House, but Brian, you're saying that's not true.
No, I saw who I think at 15 Jeffries is scheduled to be the new Speaker of the House. So I think that, well, if they did, look, it doesn't really matter if they have the House or not. They've got the Senate. So every criminal that Donald Trump proposes to serve in his administration will be certified by the Senate and sent appropriately to the White House, where they will insist on loyalty oaths from everybody. And if you don't give them one, out you go.
And how about those Jan 6? All those writers will get pardoned now.
Yeah. And Donald Trump, I think the sentencing at the end of November for Donald Trump, man, that's going to be a WWE SmackDown event. I can't wait to see
From what I understand, the September or November sentencing has been postponed, and very likely it will never happen.
how that goes.
Which thing, Brian?
Or if it does, it's going to happen in 2029 when he leaves office.
What's in Manhattan at the end of the month?
I know. Peter Strickland lives to us. One thing for sure, Karen, don't know shit about politics. I don't agree. But Brian, what's going to happen in Manhattan now? Like on the sentencing?
Good question. I don't know. We'll see. Like I said,
can he serve as president while in jail?
Nothing to keep him from it. Sorry. He's a criminal who should be in prison. And the fact that 71 million people think otherwise, I find amusing, if not critically.
I think a lot of people, most intelligent people, know that the criminal charges were, to coin a phrase, trumped up and created just to get one man.
Well, a lack of critical thinking involved in the process.
And you know, like this guy, monotone math, Michelle Obama might have
Now
won.
you locked up.
Michelle Obama might have won. Dumbledore is just too dumb. Really? Sometimes
No,
she's much smarter than you.
Look, I want to advise the Democrats. I know Kamala Harris, she's not dumb. I will say that I have really been upset in the White House for a while, and that includes hers. And I've had monumental fights with this White House, and I put it in some of my columns, including one where Harris showed up in Los Angeles. I was the cool reporter, and it reminded me of covering a city council member rather than covering the vice president of the United States. Now, that's not to say that she personally is stupid. It's to say that the Democrats, the biggest problem I have with them is this elitist mentality that they know best for everyone what's going on, and we're going to get it whether we want it or not. Now, Donald Trump just likes to fight, so we'd be in the press room and he'd take questions. But
I thought the problem was she was a woman.
the Democrats are a different animal. They say they support free speech, but I don't see it. And Donald Trump says he doesn't support free speech. I see that. So it's two different animals.
Well, I also.
Donald Trump has never said that he didn't support free speech. If anything, the rules and regulations issued by the Biden administration, the new New York expansion of civil rights will prevent a lot of speech because we keep creating protected classes.
So would maintain that the real winner here is Vladimir Putin, because that Ukraine aid is
the real loser is the world, as we were saying earlier. Ukraine will probably is in danger of falling. Palestine, the Middle East, that is going to be rewritten, and there will be no more Gaza. There will be no more Palestine. Hell, Israel hasn't. There was an article the other day, a credible article, several of them, that Israel has not ruled out using nuclear weapons on Gaza. That's going to be interesting. Then you've got Iran and southern Lebanon involved with Israel. This is getting hotter, and Donald Trump is not the cogent individual to handle.
I don't understand how one can say that a president who entered a relatively quiet, war-free-ish world and has gotten us into Ukraine, has the Israeli thing going, et cetera, and to use Brian's words, the world is getting hotter, or it's getting hotter, and Trump isn't cogent enough to do it. That's an opinion. The fact is that the president we have now has definitely not been able to do it.
Handle this. Nor will he. I think probably, everybody said, well, they'll use the 25th Amendment and get rid of him. No, they won't. They're going to send Donnie if he becomes too feeble. They're just going to have him sit behind the desk an hour or two a day, go out and play golf, and then it's going to be his chief of staff, whoever that is, and J.D. Vance making all the decisions. But none of them have the wherewithal or the hubris or the acumen to handle international events. And most Americans don't care about international events. Let's be honest about that. We think that our say goes and what we say should go, and we don't even understand how international politics works. Biden did. And that's going to be the greatest loss of not having him around, is his acumen and his gravitas on the international scene. That is where we are most vulnerable. With the House in the Democrats' hands,
Biden didn't understand what the handle on that white basin is in his bathroom. So I don't know about his handling of international events. I'm sorry, I don't mean to smash
There is a
Biden.
chance of thwarting some of the worst of Donald Trump nationally, but internationally, and those, are saying, oh, we shouldn't get war here, we shouldn't get war there. We have a responsibility as the leaders of the free world to make sure that freedom and justice is out there. Now, it's funny that it's a reverse, because the Republicans used to be the war hawks, and now they're accusing the Democrats of that. And I don't see the Democrats as war hawks. I see, look, if you don't get it, we're already involved in World War III by proxy right now. And in fact, we are being shot at. We don't have boots on the ground, but we got boots in boats and boots in planes, and they're getting shot at, and we're shooting back. That's war. So what we have to.
And this is where I can get lost, because what Brian just said is true. It's an absolute fact, but it's also not something that we hear about, not something that we talk about. We're told about being drawn into wider wars, but we're not told how or why what we're doing is changing it. But in any event, this kid's got to go because I'm going to be late. So I just wanted to, the last couple of days, I noticed that SJ had said a bunch of inaccuracies as regards to black voters and others. And John's comment yesterday was that 26% of black voters voted for Donald Trump. Very untrue. About 80, I think it was 82 or 83% of voters voted for Donald Trump. And I think the normal number is significantly higher. John told us that you can't, if you get raped in Florida, you're not allowed to have an abortion. And that is also decidedly untrue. Very quick, right? Florida's 6-week ban in effect, with exceptions for rape, incest, and the life of the mother. All right, that's what's in effect now. A proposal was made to enshrine this in the state constitution with their initiative, and that measure failed. So once again, Johnny Boy is wrong. And let's, yep, Florida's. So I gave you the AP fact check. And I don't know that you guys will read it, but the people that John and Brian are accusing of a lot of stuff are the Trump's huge gains, Latino gains, put a big crack in the Democratic coalition. And so yeah, they did leave. But the question becomes is, did they leave because Trump spoke to them more, or he lied to them? I think whatever these guys say, Harris tells them is the truth, and that's what it's going to be. And then whatever Trump told them was a lie. My quick opinion is that the Latino population in this country is maturing. You've got them involved in every aspect of business. These are not, the Democrats like to associate Latinos with the guys that mow your lawn and clean your house, and that's their elitist white view of Latinos, when the reality is that Latinos are running our corporations, running many of our cities, and have really caught on to the American dream and came here. Even if they came here illegally, they paid their taxes, and they've helped build the country. And I think we're better for them. Could have a discussion about the recent migration stuff. But I will tell you that I spend most of my day with people, Spanish speakers, Latinos, and they are very, very much against what was happening with Joe Biden's immigration. So I'm going to just wrap it up. I may finish this later. Probably not, but I will be trying to do a stream from the great city of Milwaukee, Wisconsin tonight. But that depends upon whether Mrs. Buckman leaves me alone or not. All right. and put this reel up. Right. I get it, and I have a reason for. There's a reason for that, and the reason why you say brown people is because then you can differ. You can mean everyone non-white, as opposed, and then lumping groups together. So you can lump Hispanics, you can lump blacks, East Asian Indians, Native Americans. It's a scam, and just remember that whoever controls the language controls the society. It's been great, kids. Talk to you later. Bye.